I'll never forget the time when I got a cold sore. It appeared out of nowhere. And at first, I didn't know that it was a cold sore. It was this thing that kept weeping, and I couldn't figure out what was wrong. Maybe I'd cut my lip. I just couldn't figure it out until someone told me, "You have a cold sore." What? I've never had a cold sore in all my life, ever. And I was fascinated as to why it had happened. And then I realized what I had been doing with regards to my thinking. Because all suffering is because of our thinking. And what had happened is I was in the middle of moving from the US, where I'd been living for more than 10 years, and I was moving back to Australia. And it was a very interesting experience because there were a lot of moving parts that I had to negotiate that I could not be prepared for. They were happening out of the blue, and I had to manage them bit by bit as they were happening. And I'm going to be honest, it wasn't to do with me moving myself and my personal belongings. Oh, that was easy. But when I was moving my cats to Australia, which was part of the relocation experience, that's when I got really challenged because I was dealing with a lot of government bodies where there was a lot of things they required in order to process the cats to come to Australia. And this is a rabies-free country. They had to go through a lot of hoops to get here. Lots of tests. And also I had to deal with government agencies, and they required certain paperwork. And if it wasn't in order, you had to resubmit it again. It would take weeks. And so it was a very challenging time. And also a lot of money went out. So like I said, it wasn't one of the most delicious goals I went after. I am happy now. They are here safe and sound with me, but that wasn't a very enjoyable goal to go after. It stretched me to breaking limits where it showcased in my body. And so when I look back now, what would I have done differently? Well, I have to say that it did work out in the end. So for me, I built characteristics that I didn't know I needed, but they were built with things going wrong. So when I look back, I asked myself two questions, and this is very important for you right now, to ask yourself two questions to support you, to help you move through challenging circumstances. And I wish I had done it more often when I was going through this challenging time to move to Australia. So the first question is, why is this happening, and what is it I need to learn? What is it I need to learn? And for me, why was it happening? I realized it was happening in order for me to build characteristics to elevate my identity to the next level. Okay, first of all. The second thing was, and some of these characters were patience. These characteristics were to be kind and compassionate. These characteristics were to be a more powerful leader of myself. I realized some of these characteristics were to also make peace with money. I had to become a new version of myself, trusting God more, that He is the source of my supply and that all is well. So the characteristics were built over a period of 9 months to elevate to a new version of myself. But I think the greatest lesson I was meant to learn was to become more of an expert in using my will. I realized when I look back that my will was weak. And the will, remember, is part of the conscious mind. We have 6 higher faculties: imagination, will, intuition, perception, memory, and reason. Reason is called thinking. So these sit in the conscious mind. And when I look back, out of all my higher faculties, this helps you. These higher faculties help you live on the creative plane, not the competitive plane. Out of all my higher faculties, the one thing I still need to develop, because it is a muscle, is my will. My will is actually really weak. I don't know about you, but I need to develop my will. And it is the one thing that I know will help me get exactly what I would love if I can actually develop it more. For some people, maybe your imagination is weak, or possibly your perception. You tend to perceive things in a certain way instead of looking at 2 sides of the situation, because a coin always has 2 sides. So does every situation that happens. There's always 2 sides to the story, okay? So my will needed to be developed. And I'm so grateful I have this awareness now that the will is the one muscle that many of us are not developing. In fact, it's getting weaker and weaker with more information that's coming at us at record speed. 70,000 thoughts are coming in from record speed, from what we hear, what we see, what we taste, what we touch, day in, day out, especially with social media. How many times we're bombarded with information, and then our will, we're not focusing on one thing. Our mind's going here, there, everywhere, all the time. So in order to develop your will, I believe the quickest way to develop your will is to get clear with what you want and make it the one thing, the main thing. I've discovered many business owners are doing too many things and not simplifying their processes, not simplifying and just doing the one thing, becoming an expert, getting results before moving on to the next thing. And my mentor, Bob Proctor, taught me that. The other way to develop your will is to put a dot on the wall and start to look at it and build your will up by constantly looking at that dot every single day for up to 5 minutes at a time. At first, you may only be able to do it for a minute, then your focus goes, and you come back to the dot again, then your focus goes. You can do it with a candle. Light a candle and look at the burning part of the wick and constantly come back to that and build your will up. Because once you learn how to focus, you can apply this concentration to anything, including a goal of where you're going. But that's one lesson I learned. And now when I look back, if I controlled my will more and not let the outside disturb me, then I know I wouldn't have created scenario after scenario of excited misery, because I wouldn't have become emotionally involved in the wrong idea when something went wrong. I know I caused my own misery because something would happen, I'd then become emotionally involved in it, and then I'd take a dip in the valley and I'd feel terrible that I'm never going to get to Australia, and then something else would happen, and then I'd take a dip in the valley and then I'd go, I'm never going to get there. This is ridiculous. What's happened now? What's the paperwork's not right? And then I take another dip in the valley. But if only I had harnessed my will to neutralize what was happening and just go back to the end result, focusing on that, I know that the other circumstances that happened wouldn't have happened. They wouldn't have happened because I had neutralized the one circuit and concentrated more on what I want, and it would have been a quicker process and experience to get to Australia. So I hope this helps you. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing, share it with others. Welcome if you're new. I'm Tanya, and I'm all about helping you master your mind so you can master your precious life. Leave your comments below, and if you have any other ideas about developing your will, drop them in the comments. See you soon.